British TV BBC uncovers how Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, identifies with his spaniel, while Cardinal Becciu in the Vatican is sentenced to 5.5 years in prison. 500,000 migrants are trying to make their way to the USA, and in Krakow, a Banksy museum is opened without the artist's consent. Is Papua New Guinea really being exploited by Western corporations? News service, Safira Radio, welcome.
In East London, public Christmas concerts have been cancelled. The decision, after consultation with the local council and police, was made due to participant safety concerns. The first event saw nearly 7,000 people in attendance, overwhelming the expectations of authorities and organisers. Heather Atkinson, pastor of St. Peter's Church in Bethnal Green, expressed regret over the cancellation of the events, but also understanding. Carol services are an important missionary opportunity, attracting many people outside the church.
Ecological activists from Oceania criticise industrialised Western countries and call for greater attention to societies particularly affected by climate change. The chairwoman of the Catholic Women's Association on the island of Bougainville, Helena Hakena, particularly referred to the extraction of copper, lithium, nickel and rare earth metals in Papua New Guinea. This extraction leads to the destruction of the environment and the traditional way of life of the people in my homeland, she stated in a statement published by the German Catholic aid organisation Missio Aachen. She emphasised that the profits from the extraction do not reach ordinary people. It provides prosperity only to a few companies and politicians.
The Vatican State Tribunal sentenced the former Deputy Secretary of State, Cardinal Giovanni Angelo Becciu, to 5.5 years in prison for embezzlement and abuse of office. The process involved the purchase of a luxury property in London, which brought significant losses to the Vatican. Other individuals, including financier Gianluigi Torsi, were also sentenced in the process, dubbed the Trial of the Century, which lasted nearly 2.5 years. Defenders emphasize that Becciu always acted in the interest of the Church and did not achieve personal benefits. They announce that in the appeal they will strive to recognize the Cardinal's innocence.
According to UN data, about 500,000 migrants will overcome the Darien jungle in Panama on their way to the USA this year, more than doubling the number from last year. The International Organization for Migration warns of the deteriorating humanitarian situation and appeals for regional cooperation. Migrants, mainly from Venezuela, Haiti, and Ecuador, are exposed to violence, robberies, and other dangers. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees calls for international support to prevent dangerous journeys. Pope Francis also expressed concern for the fate of migrants and called for a joint humanitarian response.
In Krakow, in Kazimierz, a museum dedicated to the work of British artist Banksy has been opened. In the historic interiors of a former factory, 150 reproductions of his works, including graffiti, paintings, graphics and collages, have been collected. The organizer of the exhibition, Hazis Vardar, has previously organized similar exhibitions in Europe, which attracted over 1 million visitors. Controversies regarding the exhibition of Banksy's works without his consent are supposedly balanced by the popularity of the exhibitions and support for charitable foundations.
Justin Welby, Archbishop of Canterbury, light-heartedly compared his perception to the memory of his dog, a spaniel, after a small stumble during the coronation rehearsal of King Charles. In a BBC documentary, Welby, while reciting a prayer, suddenly falls silent, checks his notes and says, "This cannot be true." In response, the Archbishop of York adds, "You must have said this before." After a moment, Welby continues the prayer without major problems. In the programme Charles III Coronation Year, the Archbishop admitted that it was only a minor error and added that the King reacted to it with a kind smile. The document will be broadcast on the second day of Christmas on British television.
In the mountains of Norway, a unique gold coin depicting Jesus Christ was discovered. The coin, from the Byzantine Empire, is dated between 977 and 1025 of our eras. On the obverse is the likeness of Jesus, and on the reverse Emperors Basil II and Constantine VIII. Experts are now considering how the coin could have reached Norway.
In times when Jerusalem lived by the name of John the Baptist, many considered him the Messiah. However, John, humble and full of humility, always pushed away all titles. His life and teachings, as we know from the Gospel of John, show him as a voice crying in the wilderness, preparing the way for the Lord. Despite difficult times, full of wars and uncertainties, John did not lose faith in God, teaching us how to keep hope. John the Baptist reminds us of our role as witnesses of the light, which is Jesus, his life, full of humility and fidelity, even in the most difficult circumstances, is an inspiration to prepare the way for God and follow him in the broadest circle, regardless of challenges.
This was the news service from Saphira Radio. We are glad that you are with us.
Have a great week, and may God bless us all.